Hello, this is Gray Zone Map, Public Verdict Foundation's project. This is how our map looks like and answers to the questions. What is the rule of law problem that the project addresses or solves? The Gray Zone project addresses more than one rule of law. We hold that Russia violated fundamental rights under Article 2, that is right for life, and Article 3, absolute prohibition of torture, of the European Convention on Human Rights. Also, convicts' rights for visitation stipulated in the Penal Enforcement Code and right for legal assistance guaranteed by the Constitution, rules of criminal procedures, and Penal Enforcement Code were violated too. How was this particular rule of law problem impacted by the pandemic? Zero information was provided on health conditions of convicts and in terms of COVID situation overall in different colonies. Lack of information usually gives rise to various rumors, speculation, and fears. Yet, some data leaked through. We and other organizations began to receive messages, urgent requests for help from relatives and convicts. The situation began to escalate rapidly. If the disease spread very quickly on the outside, it could explode in prisons and colonies. Too quickly, a whole knot of interdependent problems was formed. Tests were not done. Patients were not isolated. Treatment was not appropriate. We even heard of death cases, and nobody was sure about for the cause of those deaths, virus or other. The real cases, if they happened, were carefully concealed. Prisoners' access to legal aid was restricted. Lawyers were no longer allowed to see prisoners, and institutions were simply quarantined. Any visitations, long or short, were forbidden. Contact with relatives was restricted in every possible way, while contact with employees of colonies who went out every day, led their usual way of life on the outside, and then returned to the correctional colonies to work, was maintained. How does your project address or solve this particular rule of law prohibition problem in the context of the pandemic? First of all, the project addressed the issue of openness of information in prisons. It resonated so strongly that the Federal Penitentiary Service and medical departments of prisons began to report data and respond to external requests, including requests from relatives and public organizations. The project registers all cases of violations of the rights of prisoners and makes it public after it has been verified to avoid criminal liability for spreading false information, to confirm real data, as sometimes official information from a penitentiary service and prison medical department from the same region was inconsistent, and we had to file an inquiry to the Federal Service of Execution of Punishment for clarification and confirmation. It registers anonymous calls as well, and that was very valuable as disclosure meant taking risks for convicts. What impact has the project had so far? Greater publicity and public response to the Gray Zone resulted in opening access of lawyers to convicts, both at pre-trial detention centers and colonies. Short-term visitations with relatives were allowed through telephone and plexiglass partition. Medical care began to be provided. Convicts with symptoms were isolated or resettled. Specially equipped boxes and even cells appeared. How will the project continue to have impact in the future? Gray Zone originally was created as a platform for monitoring the situation with COVID at prisons and colonies in Russia, and it is a universal monitoring instrument as well. We plan to gradually add to the Gray Zone other issues of human rights violations across colonies and plan to develop an online resource for monitoring state of human rights at places of detention. That should serve to increase the accountability of the penitentiary system through tools of civil control involving both human rights organizations and citizens.